revealing something about what they think. Hillary's on stage, she's standing strong, she's trying to be a leader. He thinks that's nasty because he can't look at another woman in a leadership position and see an equal. That's not what we need in the Oval Office right now. If I can do another one. Hillary kind of dinged Donald Trump on stage in the first debate. She said, "Why haven't you released your tax returns? The American public is entitled to see them." And it was interesting. She challenged him, and Donald Trump kept his cool, kind of. She said, "I bet you're not as wealthy as you say you are." He didn't say anything about that. That didn't strike a nerve. She said, "I bet you're not as charitable as you say you are." That didn't strike a nerve. Then she said, "I bet you're not paying any taxes." And that struck a nerve. And do you remember what Donald Trump said? "That makes me smart. That makes me smart." So I guess how would he look at us, right? We are working. I'm not going to ask for a show of hands about how many people love paying taxes, but we're working and we're paying some taxes. And you know why we are? Because 2 million young men and women volunteer in a time of war to serve their nation. 1%, all volunteer military. And the 1% who volunteer are so that the 99% of us, we don't have to volunteer. We don't have to serve in a time of war. And the taxes that we 99% pay are what support these 2 million young men and women. One of those kids is my oldest son, Nat. He's a Marine infantry commander deployed overseas for the second time right now. Is it really smart for a guy who wants to be commander-in-chief to brag about the fact that he's not paying taxes to support those troops? Or what about our vets? We make a promise to them that there's going to be health care for them for the rest of their life. I see some vets right here. Thank you for what you do. We make a promise to vets, and it's kind of we may not know what the promise will entail, what medical needs there will be, but we're making a promise that there's going to be a VA system. That VA system doesn't operate under Jack's magic beans. It's because we're paying taxes to support it. So is it smart for a guy to be commander-in-chief to stand up and brag about stiffing vets by not paying taxes?
No!
Or stiffing kids who get Pell Grants to go to college, or stiffing teachers? I can think of a lot of words to describe somebody like that, but smart isn't one of them. It makes me furious. This is all part of the issue that Tom Harkin was talking about. Civility. Do we have an obligation to each other or not? Is it just hunters and gatherers and dog eat dog and winner take all, and I can push everybody aside, and as long as I succeed in doing it, then call me a success? Is that what we're devolving to? That is not who we are. That is not who we are, but that's the ethics of a Donald Trump. Very different than the character of a Hillary Clinton. A couple of issues, and then I want to talk about how to win. I think the biggest issue before the country, in Iowa, in Virginia, everywhere, is an economy that can work for everybody. Not just those at the top, but really, really work for everybody. When President Obama came into office, we were in the worst recession since the 1930s. Complete free fall. President Obama came in and it was almost like he had one hand just dangling at his side because the GOP said, we're not going to lift a finger to help President Obama turn this economy around, even though it was our policies that put us into this ditch. And so they basically stood back. And President Obama, working with some of us as supporters, we've now grown the economy by 15 million private sector jobs. We've cut the unemployment rate in half. 401k policies are worse than again. Last year, 3.5 million people moved out of poverty upward, the biggest jump out of poverty in 1 year in the history of this country. Between 2014 and 2015, President Obama does not get enough credit for what he's done, especially given how little money he has. But if President Obama were here, this is what he'd say next: we haven't gone far enough. We still have a whole lot to do. Because there's a lot of people, Iowa, Virginia, everywhere, might be in an inner city, might be in an isolated pocket of rural America, might be in coal country, might be in Indian country. A lot of people who don't see the ladder that they can climb to success. They can see a headline about the unemployment rate coming down or about GDP coming up, but they don't see the ladder that they can climb. And if you can't see a ladder that you can climb, and especially if you're not sure that there's a ladder that your kids can climb, that is very, very troubling. And some of Donald Trump's supporters are animated by that, and frankly, some people who are voting for us, that's their principal worry. The most important thing that we have to do, see the Osakiade, as they say, if we have the ability, if God wills it, that we are to serve in this position, the most important thing we have to do is put a plan on the table to grow an economy that really works for everybody. Now, Hillary and I have a four-pointer, really quick. Invest in infrastructure, manufacturing, and research. The clean energy economy of tomorrow. Build road and rail and port and airport and broadband deployment. You hire people right away, and then you use those investments for that. That's number one. Number two, let's invest in our workforce and really early expanded pre-K education. Celebrate great teachers. Loras College has trained a lot of great teachers, right? We're going to have more affordable college. And we're going to come back to that one in a minute. And let's take a great page from some of our wonderful unions who have specialized in career and technical training and apprenticeships and train more people in these trades, which, you know, I just toured a community college in Cedar Rapids a month ago to watch people training to be technicians on wind turbines. We got to have more career and technical training, and if we do all of those things, that's the second thing we can do to grow an economy. Third, let's make wages fair. Raise the minimum wage so you're not below the poverty level. And make sure women get equally work. And then the fourth thing we do for the economy and the Hillary Clinton plan is ask ourselves the question, where do jobs come from? They come from small businesses. So let's focus on small businesses, make them easier to start, easier to finance, easier to pay taxes, regulations easier, easier to hire employees and buy health insurance for your employees. It's not about the Wall Street businesses, it's about the small Main Street businesses. And Hillary and I both came out of small business families. My dad was an iron worker and welder, and Hillary's dad ran a drapery, fabric and printing company. So those are the four things that we would do with the economy in the first 100 days, putting that before Congress. Economists look at our plan and say, if you do those things, by the end of the first term, America will have grown by 10.5 million new jobs. 10.5 million new jobs. Now Donald Trump has a plan too. Donald Trump has a plan too. And his plan is simple. Give tax breaks to those at the top. Billionaires, millionaires, big companies, big tax breaks. We did this. We did it in 2002. It tanked the economy. It put us into a recession. It exploded the deficit. How many homes were lost? How many jobs were lost? How many pension plans were lost? How much human misery was there? Why would we do it again? Why would a president suggest we do it again? And I think the answer is, and we would especially know this if Donald Trump would release his tax returns, the Donald Trump economy plan is really a Trump-first plan. It's tax cuts that would help Donald Trump and people like him. Economists have looked at his plan too. If we do the Donald Trump plan, we will lose 3.5 million jobs. The difference between 10.5 million increase, 3.5 million decrease, 14 million jobs. That's the difference between a you're hired president and a you're fired president. Why would we want to get a you're fired president? Let's elect Hillary Clinton and we'll have a you're hired president.